Hi everyone, I'm back. It's Laurie again from Aligned Wisdom. Today I'm going to talk to you about contrast. Contrast quite often is various shades of grey, and I'm not talking about that movie. What I'm talking about is people quite often see things as black or white, and it's very rarely that. Okay, it's often something in between. Okay, so a problem could be seen as black. Okay, but what if you looked at it as an opportunity to learn something? It's not a problem, it's a lesson. Okay, so going back to my previous video on perspectives, instead of focusing narrowly on the problem, we step back. Okay, we become an observer, we find a solution for it, and on our journey from going from problem to solution, we see it as an opportunity. And in that time that we solve the problem, or sometimes it solves itself, we recognize that there's a lesson and there's an opportunity to be had. So, give you an example. I was in a previous, well, not in a previous life, sorry, in a previous career, I was a police officer in New Zealand. And I really believed in it. I put on that blue uniform, mate, and I was out there, hail and brimstone. I was there to help. I really wanted to help. I genuinely was surrounded by a good bunch of guys. Um, we were, well, we believed we were fighting the fight. Okay. Then I had a problem. I had a boss that didn't like me. We were getting along fine, and then all of a sudden, he tried to make me do something I didn't want to do it. Okay. Now, the problem was I have a serious justice complex. So I stood my ground and we went toe to toe, and it didn't go well because he seriously outranked me. But rather than me focusing on the problem all the time, which I did for years, and I've now, since left the police and I've learnt some lessons, I can tell you about this story because he was trying to show me that I was in a place I didn't need to be. We were on a team policing unit. We were chasing the gangs, chasing drugs. We were working extraordinary hours because the workload was high, but we loved it. We honestly thought we were making a difference. And then I left that team policing unit and ended up taking a promotion, a sideways promotion, just to get away from this problem. I tried to run away from it. Problem was, he wasn't the problem. I didn't recognize it at the time. It was an opportunity. Okay? The opportunity was to make a career change because I was suffering burnout. I had PTSD. I was not in a good place at all. But I thought, oh, change, as good as a holiday. You've all heard that term, I'm sure. Now, to get back to the point, I thought I would go from here to here and that would solve my problem. All I did was get a temporary reprieve because my reputation followed me when some gang members moved to the same town that I was now living in, and they recognized me. And the war was all on again. Thankfully, the story ends well. We won the war. But it took a toll. Okay? And when I went and saw a psychologist and everything, I was still so focused on the problem. I was still so black versus white. There was no contrast. Okay, this is my justice complex again kicking in. It was black or white. It's right or wrong. I couldn't see that there was an opportunity. Still, I'm like, what the hell's going on? She told me to breathe, and I looked at her and like went off. I'm already breathing. Can't you tell? If you can't give me good advice, effing good and blah blah. I was so angry that I couldn't see I was the problem. So, what happens? Amidst all this anger, my partner at the time was going to university, and I could see she was learning. She was having great growth. I could literally see personal growth happening. And I went, I want that too. Now here's the cool part of the story. I went from a big problem, chasing gangs and stuff in a very small, isolated town that had a huge crime rate, to a nice rural town that was just down the road from a university, one of the big universities in New Zealand, Waikato University, if anyone wants to know. And I thought, right, I've been put on some administrative leave because of my PTSD and everything. I'm going to take this opportunity to see what's going on. Now, did I think of that? No, my partner did. She said, get your ass down to uni. If you want what I've got, come to uni. So I went down and I had a look. Lo and behold, they were doing a taster program. So I went and sat in on a couple of lectures and everything and went, wow, this is actually really interesting. And what was really cool was there was a lecturer who asked me my opinion. Now, bearing in mind, I'm a cop still at the time, and I was used to not being allowed to have an opinion. The law was, you do this, do it, and you're good. Don't do it, I arrest you. It was simple. Again, this whole black and white thing. Now, we have a discussion and I decide, right, I'm going to go to university, and I went and saw my new boss and he goes, you know what? If that benefits the police, I'm interested too. So I did a management and communications degree. And anyway, cut a long story short, I finished the degree. I actually ended up finishing the police. But the point I'm making is this. Not every single problem is a problem. It's an opportunity. And we've got to stop looking at things as black and white. There's all this grey area in between. Now, I had to wade through a lot of grey, and I didn't even know I was doing it at the time. I just knew I needed to be somewhere better and somewhere different. My life has completely changed now. I'm living in Australia. I'm happily married. We've got beautiful kids. Everything's great. Or is it? Don't worry, it is. But the point I'm making is this. We are still experiencing contrast. We are still experiencing opportunities and lessons. We don't see them as massive problems anymore. They still hit us with a shock from time to time. One of the kids gets sick, and I mean, one of them got very, very sick. And we're like, oh my God, what's going on? We stop, we take a breath. Again, going back to this perspective thing, is take a step back. What are we doing that's wrong? What are we doing that's right? Where is the lesson to learn in this? How do we move forward? We are living in this contrast area constantly. We're always seeking to live at the white end of the spectrum, right? Where it's a bit more positive and bright and fluffy and all that sort of stuff. But our life is not perfect. It's perfect for us, right? But it's not what you would see as perfect. There is still crap going on. But what we're learning is the more we deal with it, the smaller the next problem is. And the smaller the next one is. And now they're not even problems. They're just little bumps on the road. We'll go, oh, that's an interesting lesson. We learn it and we move on. Okay? So, I hope this helps. So, in recap, what I need you to focus on now is nothing's black or white. Right? Everything is an opportunity or a lesson. Learn the lesson. The next hurdle might not be so big. And so on and so forth. Okay? If you're stubborn, however, and I was, the next time I experienced was, shall we say, some contrast, was I was going through a rough patch with my business. And I just went, if I just work harder, I will solve the problem. I just need to work hard. I just need to work hard. Just need to work. And this was my mantra. And I nearly popped, right? I was working so hard when all I had to do was pivot and change direction of the business a little, and all of a sudden I was in flow. So the universe was trying to tell me what you're doing is wrong. And the hurdle got bigger and bigger and bigger until one day I was in a car accident and I broke my back and the shoulder here. It's all good now. I had to have surgery and stuff, and it's all okay. But I wasn't listening to a point where the universe literally had to hit me with a truck. Okay? I was in hospital, I was trying to figure out what to do, and then boom, it just came to me. Oh, why don't I just do this instead? So I get better, I come out, I pivot, boom, the opportunity started flowing. All my money issues and everything completely disappeared. The money started to flow because I was heading in the right direction. I no longer saw a problem that I had to solve that was just so big that I had to just work harder, and eventually I'll get rid of that massive boulder that's blocking me. All I had to do was to pivot and go around the boulder and find a new path. So, I hope that helps. Cheers for listening.